What happens now? You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Carry on, don't fear the fall, 'cause you'll get
I've always found myself surrounded by strong women, whether deliberately or inadvertently. I was born to a strong woman. My mother was the first strong woman in my life. She was very determined, or she is rather a very determined person. She is very persistent and she perseveres in every advent in her life. When it comes to her children, she is the biggest advocate. I grew up surrounded by strong women. The principal of my primary school, Mrs. Japanau, a strong woman. My friends, my girlfriends, I've always found myself being drawn to older women. So most of my friends were older women, strong women. When I first delved into activism, in particular, the feminist movement, well, you can well imagine me being surrounded by strong women. One of these women being none other than the St. Lucia Nurses Association president, Nurse Alicia Baptiste. This week, starting from last week even, there were all of these please sign my petition motions going around. I refused to open them because oftentimes they're based on falsehood, they're based on fake news, they're based on someone's opinion, and I really haven't got the time to entertain one's opinion based on nothing. You see, it's one thing to have an opinion and to bandy it about as your opinion, but it is yet another thing to have an opinion and thrust it down other people's throats as the gospel truth. So I refused to open them. A friend of mine mentioned to me, did you not hear about the petitions that have been going on? And I said to him, no. And he says, no, you don't. Now, I'm getting my petitions wrong. Let's go back to Nurse Alicia Baptiste. So I was told about this petition going, or this WhatsApp message going around about nurses. I thought you were an activist, a feminist, and you know all of these nurses are going to be fired, and all of these nurses. And how you mean you haven't opened the WhatsApp message? How you mean you're not entertaining it? I said, well, I think it's baseless. Until I received a voice note. I received the WhatsApp message accompanied with a voice note from someone I had every reason to believe knew what they were talking about, and to my mind, a credible source. So I listened and I was appalled. And dare I say, I went into my cupboard, pulled out my walking shoes and said, yes, I am marching on Sunday because this is ridiculous. I listened again and I read the WhatsApp message and something did not strike right with me. I said, okay, before you decide you're going to abandon your church people to go walking, to go marching, let's find out whether there's any merit, whether there is any credence to this. And you know what I'm talking about the nurses, there's over 600 nurses who were purported to be, who has been purported to have been asked to resign their positions and reapply for a position at the OKEU hospital. So I first called every government official that I knew who would still take my calls. And lo and behold, everybody categorically denied. Well, what do you expect? If someone is trying to hide something, you can't expect them to say, yes, it is so. So I called Nurse Baptiste, and it is sad, really. It really is sad that a woman of the integrity of Nurse Alicia Baptist, who has always put the issues facing nurses on the front burner passionately, would have to deal with this kind of fake news, this kind of malicious intent. And I say malicious intent because there is no doubt in my mind that the young lady who voiced this voice note intended to do nothing but wreak mayhem and discord, not just amongst the nurses, but amongst the patients of the Victoria Hospital, amongst the citizens of St. Lucia. To put a voice note like that out there saying that the Prime Minister convened a meeting with the nurses and that a memo was sent out to none other but the St. Lucia Nurses Association's president, purporting to ask the nurses to resign. One of the first things that struck me was the number of nurses that were asked to resign, the number of nurses quoted in the WhatsApp message, over 600. And I thought to myself, Victoria Hospital employs over 600 nurses? So where are they? How many? What is the complement of staff at Victoria Hospital when just the nurses account for over 600? So I spoke with Nurse Baptist and she categorically denied any such meeting having taken place. As a matter of fact, she did admit that she had a meeting with her staff, and I got a voice note, and that leads to something else. I got 2 voice notes from a meeting that was convened by the St. Lucia Nurses Association with the nurses that they represent. And some nurse who was sufficiently suspicious of her association, or his association, because we do have male nurses, taped that meeting and sent it out. And I'm saying, when you put out there that the executive, and I use executive, although Nurse Alicia Baptist was singled out, it wasn't mentioned that the St. Lucia Nurses Association executive, Nurse Baptist's name was mentioned, and so it was very striking. And I ask myself, what is the intention? If an association convenes a meeting, if an association was met, why not say the association was met? Why do you have to single out the president? But you know, her back is broad and she's a very strong woman, and she will continue to fight for the causes of the nurses of St. Lucia. So you say that the St. Lucia Nurses Association president received this memo. She categorically denies it. And she further asks for whomever is propagating that information to present to her a memo to that effect. And she will meet with you. You can't ask for more than that. I think it is careless. I think it is reckless. I think it is egregious. I think it is callous. And in plain, simple terms, it is just flat out wrong what you are doing. You're not only hurting a woman who has done nothing but forward the cause of nurses in this country. You are not even hurting just the nurses of this country. You are hurting the citizens of this country. You are hurting the entire country as a whole. And we all know what the effects of putting that kind of propaganda out there. We need only to remember one particular person saying, I will write to every external source, and I'm paraphrasing here, not to invest in this country. This is tantamount to what you're doing. This is exactly what you're doing in your own terms. When you put out there that hate the government of St. Lucia as much as you hate them, hate the men and women who form the government of St. Lucia, but by golly wow, have some patriotism. This is not patriotic. It cannot be patriotic. When you take a situation as sensitive as healthcare in this country and blast out there, strike fear in the hearts of every St. Lucian residing here and abroad, strike fear in citizens of the world who may think that they want to reside in St. Lucia, that our healthcare, as deplorable as it is, has absolutely no hope, and that it is in a worse and dire strait than it really is. It is just plain wrong. It is just plain wrong. The countless petitions, the countless WhatsApp messages being circulated, it is just wrong. And when some of us, especially those of us in the medical field, circulate such baseless, reckless, and careless comments, you're in effect tacitly condoning and supporting the machinations of these wicked people. And I say they're wicked because how do you think patients who are supposed to be convalescing at the hospital are supposed to feel knowing that allegedly come the 16th of September there will be no nurses to care for them? Because if what you say is right, if what you say is true, come the 15th of September, whomever has to resign would have resigned. And because we know vacancies have not yet been gazetted, it means that on the 16th of September, there will be no nurses to care for the sick and convalescing. How do you think a nurse is supposed to feel when you say to her or him that your president knows and has agreed or condoned, because she has never said that this meeting took place, so it stands to reason that she's supporting this ridiculous nonsense, and refuse to come to you and say to you that you are expected to resign and wait for vacancies to be posted so that you can apply for them? What measure of trust can these nurses have in their president and executive, which were duly elected? You are saying to them, do not trust those persons in whom you have reposed your custodial trust. There is something abjectly wicked about this action. And I, for one, will add my voice to asking you to cease and desist. It is just plain wicked. We have a healthcare system that is failing. And you're pouring salt in an open wound. What do you expect? And I ask myself the question, is this politically motivated? Because I have not yet heard, and I don't know if he has or if they have, but I have not heard one opposition member from any of the opposing parties come out and denounce this statement. Not that most of us would believe them anyway, but the fact of the matter is there isn't on record an opposing party saying, I denounce these statements. These statements, we do not support these statements. They are not based in, they're based on nothing. They're based on nothing. You are saying to the technocrats that are employed with the Ministry of Health that you are not in our best interest. And I'm not sure if we have the clip queued, But we did hear from Mr. St. Hill, the PS in the Ministry of Health, denouncing such statements. So if we have it, we'll play it for you in a little while. Denouncing such statements, categorically denying that any such move has been taken. How dare you? How dare you think that the masses are asses? How dare you think that despite everything, that we are so gullible to just accept what you're saying carte blanche? Which brings me again to yet another petition which has been circulating, even before the nurses or while the nurses thing is going on. And this one strikes close to home for me. Several Sign My Petition movements have started to save the Rudy John Beach Park at Labrie from the grubby little hands of Coconut Bay. I even got some sort of artwork with what looked like eggs, and well, Labrie now has a reputation for burying eggs. So I thought, well, they want to bury Coconut Bay. Sign my petition. Save Rudy John Beach Park from Coconut Bay and its investors. I called again every ministerial officer that I could possibly call who would take my call, and all of them were bewildered. They have no idea what's going on, and how dare they conduct such activities without first requesting permission. Nobody knew what I was talking about. I called Coconut Bay, and Coconut Bay categorically yet again denied. In all of my research, a couple of names came up. I called these people, and one of them first thing said to me, political mischief. I mean, how dare you? And you're bandying about the names of these people as the architects of such a ludicrous motion. Really? Are we so desperate in this country to score cheap political mileage that this is what we're doing? Come on, people, elevate yourselves. You say that you want a different kind of politics. Why don't you lead from the front? Stop being led down the path of destruction of your country, your patrimony. Lead from the front. Stop being led into mischief. All good and well who wants to march for your rights and your causes, but let it be steeped in truth and facts. Do not let yourselves be so gullible and stray down a path where you have absolutely not one shred of evidence to save yourself. And if anybody were to take you to task, you would be left holding this can of worms by yourselves, facing the music by yourselves, taking it in the neck by yourselves. Let us stop this. Let us stop this. Let's go back to Mr. St. Hill and hear his statement. And this is a statement coming from, I think he is the PS in the Ministry of Health, denouncing those statements. And then if we have it, we will also take Nurse Baptist's statements as well. Let's hear from Mr. St. Hill.
I have no directive to any of our staff members to resign their positions in order to I have no directive to any of our staff members to resign their positions in order to facilitate applications to the new statutory organization. In fact, oftentimes the policymakers have tried to reassure staff members of the security of tenure and the fact that no one will be losing their jobs as a result of our commissioning efforts.
And I hope that we can trust Mr. St. Hill as a career civil servant when he says none of this is true. You don't have to listen, you don't have to believe the ministers, but by golly wow, let us be reassured that the civil servants of St. Lucia are working in our best interest. They are the ones, they are the technocrats and the bureaucrats making sure, ensuring that our best interest is looked after. Even though we do not want to believe the men and women that we have elected to see about the policies. Now, a lot of people have been taking issue with the fact that they've been asked to resign and then the PPP. Do you know, by the way, that this whole resignation and reapplication that came into that was stated in the Millennium Act, and that came into being in 2015. In 2015, 3 years. So while you want to think that it is a recent phenomenon, it isn't. This has been around for 3 years. That in the event of a PPP, in the event of a statutory body being formed, that the nurses and the medical personnel would have to resign and reapply. That is not a new phenomenon. This has been there since 2015. So why did you not take issue with it in 2015? Why are you taking issue with it in 2018? When it has been around since 2015, it begs the question, who is behind this malicious act? Whomever is behind it, I don't really care. I just want you to stop. Because you're hurting not just the nurses. You're not even hurting Nurse Baptist. You're hurting the citizens of this country. You're hurting our sweet St. Lucia. This is what you're hurting. This is whom you're hurting. The patients who cannot convalesce peacefully. Let us hear from Nurse Baptist.
Some of my members, not all, some of my members, obviously, it's of concern, those who called me to express, what they had seen or heard, and for me to give them clarification. But it's sad to say that some members are maybe part of sharing whatever is going around. What seems to be happening is that our nurses' morale is being affected, and of course the persons who are going to get the bitter end of the stick is our people, our patients. Because if a nurse is not happy at work, whereby she should not pass any ill towards the patient, but they are human, and there is the tendency to shout at the patient. You understand? Yeah. So really and truly, it is the patient and the people of St. Lucia that is going to be at the bad end of the stick, and that worries me as a nursing professional.
And she's being very calm. I don't know that I would be that calm if I were in Alicia Baptist's shoes. I don't know that I would be, and that speaks to the strength of the woman. I don't know that I would be this calm. You've got to deal with now your nurses are looking at you with, they can't trust you. They're not sure what to believe. I mean, it really speaks to the mistrust when nurses go to a meeting and tip what is being said at the meeting. Perchance that they will need it later on. That has got to be, if there is no trust between your bargaining unit and yourself, where are you going? When you can't trust your president to have your interest at heart, where are you going? Where are you going? St. Lucia, St. Lucians, please cease and desist. All good and well. All good and well. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. All good and well. You have to speak out when there are things being done that is wrong. But let it be steeped, let it be based on facts. Do not be gullible. There are people whose jobs it is to sit in a room and come up with this stupidity. That's their job. Your job is to sift through and determine for yourself right from wrong, facts from falsehood. We're due for a break. When we come back, my guests, stay tuned.
You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Carry on, don't fear the fall.
Good evening, St. Lucia, and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of What's Happening Now with Laura. I'm your host, Laura Japierre, and with me in studio are two young men representing their community, representing their band, representing young men of St. Lucia. And this is coming in the midst of our young men in St. Lucia killing each other off. I mean, just recently we heard of two cousins having lost their lives to gun violence. And it's a really sad state of affairs where you have all of our young men, most of our young men just dying off. They're not even getting to the point where they're seeing 30 years old. They're just young teenagers, 19, 13 being the youngest victim to gun violence in St. Lucia. And that is really sad. And in the midst of that, we have these two young men striving to make their communities proud, striving to make their parents, their family proud, striving to make St. Lucia proud. Welcome, members of the St. Lucia, the Labrie, I'm saying St. Lucia, we have to break it down to the community level, Labrie Steel Pan Orchestra. Joshua, Andreas, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, you guys are fresh off the banana boat, so to speak, from London, England, where you represented your steel pan orchestra, yeah, at the Nottingham Carnival Panorama competition. But before we go into that, just introduce yourselves to St. Lucia. Tell us who you are and, yeah.
All right, so my name is Joshua Murray, and I'm the captain of the Labrie Steel Pan. I've been playing with the Labrie Steel Pan from 2006, so I guess this year would have made 12 years. I've basically watched this band grow from where we were in 2006. A bunch of kids you would consider just making noise upstairs at Labrie Boys Primary School. And we progressed over the years to our first Panorama in 2012, and now just fresh off a London trip. So it really is a wonder to actually see the band grow and me grow with the band as well.
Yeah, because you literally, you know, sometimes we watch telly and we watch our favorite series and we see these actresses and actors grow up on a show. You basically grew up with the Labrie Steel Pan Orchestra
Yes.
from yay high to a young man. I mean, literally, we saw you grow up in the steel pan.
Yeah, from growing up behind the bass.
And now we can see you over the pan. And you, Andreas, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, my name is Andreas Richard Edward. I've been in the Labrie Steel Pan for 8 wonderful years. And presently I'm the arranger of the band. Our motto is youth empowerment for music. And that's exactly what I love doing, you know, working with the young persons in our community, giving them something positive to do, keep them off the streets and so on. And all for playing music. So yeah, that's basically me.
Great. Now, Andreas, you're the arranger. And you've been the arranger for how long?
I'd say 2016 champion. For 4 years now.
So you were the arranger when you won the Panorama
Yeah,
competition.
definitely. Yeah.
I mean, St. Lucia, I mean, this is a genius.
Thank you.
Genius. I mean, and your arrangements are always not just simple arrangements. You always have this sort of complexity. And I've followed you guys, and when I go to Panorama and I listen to the comments, I hear people, and I dare say there's a little bit of envy in there when they say they always have this complex thing, you know, this complex arrangement, and you're the guy behind all of that. Right. So you're fresh off of a trip to London. Tell us about that. How was that for you, and why did you go across, and what was the outcome of your trip?
Well, The main purpose of us going to London, we actually had a mission when we were going to London. Our mission was to create a bond with whichever band we interacted with. Well, we knew we were going to Mangrove, so our mission was, to create a bond with them, so we can create an opportunity for the children behind us, you know. So yeah, that was basically our mission, and also to win the panorama.
Of course, which you did, Now, Joshua, tell us, as captain, this is not the first collaboration that you've had with another band. First of all, tell us, how did you get to collaborate with Mangrove, and then tell us a little bit about other collaborations that you've had in the past.
Well, how we formed this collaboration was we have one of our players who left to study in 2016, who went to London to study law. And whilst there, she began a job with the restaurant at the band, the Panyard, I would say, right?
Tabernacle.
The Tabernacle. And in working, the manager runs a still band as well, Mangrove, and she was telling them that back home she plays for a band, and we were a group of young people who, like a community band similar to them. And then the manager liked the idea of Labrador Steel Band, and he was like, you know what, well, bring them over. And then, and so forth. That's basically how we were able to go over to play with Mangrove, and yeah. And as for the other collaborations, we have been going to Trinidad for like the past 4 years now. We've been playing with Silver Stars. Well, in the beginning, it was Birdsong. We had players going over to Birdsong to play with Birdsong, and then I think in the second year that we went to Trinidad, Birdsong did not make it into the finals. So then players like Andreas went over to Silver Stars, and that's where the communication with Marcus Ash started. And then every year we have had players from 2016. We have had players from Silver Stars coming over to play with us in St. Lucia, and every year we have players from St. Lucia going over to Trinidad to play with Silver Stars.
So that's like a twinning effort right there.
Exactly.
And you guys have been doing very well with that effort. What is, I know when you went across to London, you guys won with Mangrove. What has been your reception or your placement, if even, in Trinidad when you go across to Silver Stars?
When we went to Silver Stars, we never won with Silver Stars, but Trinidad most definitely is an experience of its own. So the year in, year out that we go to Trinidad, the experience for our players, I could tell you personally from when I went before in 2017 and when I came out after Trinidad, I could tell you I was a better pan player, because Trinidad is the land of pan. And if you want to see competition in full swing, Trinidad is most definitely the breeding ground for that, because you have bands from all over. You're talking about 15 large bands competing for the
top spot.
Exactly, the top spot.
I remember my first experience with pan in Trinidad. I will not tell you what year that was, because I'll be dating myself too much. But I remember we went across as a school, on a class trip. And we went there, and, some of us like pan, and there was this pan competition going on, and we said, oh yeah, we want to go to pan. And so we were just dressed in our t-shirts and jeans and, shorts and whatever, and we went to that. And I remember at that event, it was a gala event. Like, everybody was decked out, everybody was dressed up, and here are these kids like wharf rats just walking into the people's hall. And we're like, oh, everybody's dressed up. It's just pan, people. Stop taking it. It's not that serious, but it is that serious for Trinidadians. So that was my first experience in Trinidad for pan, and I've never forgotten it. And I think we have come a long way as St. Lucians playing pan in St. Lucia, in terms of even panorama and whatnot. But before we go on any further, I think we have some clippings of you guys from Mangrove in London. Let's have a listen. Mangrove.
So playing in position number 1, Mangrove Steel Band, located in Notting Hill, West London. The tune of choice is Halt, sung by Blacks. The composers are James Morgan, Dexter Stewart, Valis Weeks, Scott Gale, and Michael Hasmaya. The ranger is Andre White, the manager is Matthew Phillips, captain is Andrew Facey, the junior is Bertrand Butch Kelman. Mangrove have 90 players. They are playing in position number 1.
and this was the Mangrove Steel Pan collaboration between the Library Steel Pan Orchestra and Mangrove Steel Pan, playing their winning tune, Hulk, at the Notting Hill Carnival. How was that for you guys? Just watching you guys and seeing the smiles, the memories coming back. How was that for you guys?
That was a phenomenal performance for me. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, like, they call it misbehave when you start to enjoy yourself behind the pan and start jumping up and enjoying. And for me, in my whole pan life, that was the most I ever misbehaved.
Really?
Yeah, man.
You have not enjoyed your own arrangements as much as this one?
Well, yeah, I have enjoyed ours, but the whole vibe and everything there, yeah, it was amazing. So
tell us
yeah.
about the participation of the public. Tell us about how many people. Was there a crowd? Because in St. Lucia, as much as we love Pan, you have to really love Pan for you to go to Panorama, and sometimes the crowds are not as big as we expect it to be. What was your experience with crowd participation over in England?
Definitely, the crowd participation in London was like 100 times more than what you'd get here in St. Lucia. In St. Lucia, it's like the crowd is only at the front of you and it's not so many persons. But in London, we were surrounded by individuals, Yeah, it was just like we're in a pool of, like, you're in the center of these cricket or football stadiums. So you have persons all around you, yeah, so.
That was good.
Yeah.
Now, we recognize some ahead at the judging table.
Oh, yeah, man. Mr. Andy Narell.
Yeah, and he is a mentor to you guys.
Yes,
Tell us
yes.
about your collaboration with Mr. Andy Narell.
Well, Mr. Andy Narell is, what can I say, he's almost like a father to me personally, and a lot of the music that I learned is from Mr. Andy Narell. He's such an inspiration to me, he's also a role model to me, and he has helped the Library Steel Pan a lot, yeah.
I think when we first got introduced to Andy Narell in St. Lucia, it had to do a lot with jazz, coming across from jazz. How did you guys make that jump from him coming to St. Lucia as a jazz participant and to mentoring and collaborating with the Library Steel Pan Orchestra?
Yeah, right. So he used to come across for jazz and stuff, and eventually he just fell in love with Library and the people and the whole community vibe and so on. And in being there, like, he started coming like for vacation and stuff, and then he started coming around the band, teaching us songs and stuff. Eventually, he invited us to play at jazz events with him, where he would teach us some of his songs and do solos and stuff during the performance. Until he started living in St. Lucia. He's now a Laborian. He has his own house and
Big up to that.
everything. Yeah.
Now, while we're saying big ups to Andy Narell and all of those other people who have supported you, your band leader is really the backbone of the Library Steel Pan project.
Of course.
From the time you were little guys like you, Joshua, as a baby, and we're talking about none other than Miss Quill Barthelmy.
Yeah, man.
What does she mean to you guys, really? I mean, I know she started the project, but what does she really mean to you guys?
Miss Quill, I don't think there's any one set of words you could use to describe Miss Quill. Miss Quill Barthelmy, to me, is more than just a band leader. I mean, if we see, like, what people would see, what she's done with the band, she's a great leader. She's very outspoken, and she has always led the band with an honest tongue. I could tell you that. Honest tongue. The work she has put in with us, I don't think any woman of her age at the time would have wanted to go through all of that. I mean, the commitment during the week, and even especially on Saturdays, coming in from 1 up until 7 at night. And not to mention the long hours we'd put in for panoramas. You could only imagine how much time we've been around Miss Quill. And so, people would see these things, like see what she does with the band. But personally, to me, Miss Quill is like a mother to me. Miss Quill, I mean, I may not be the only person who could say it, But I could speak to Miss Cool about anything, any and everything. You know, that's how close we've gotten over the years. I would have a problem and I'll talk to Miss Cool and say, hey, Miss, you know, such and such came up and I really need help, you know? And she's a mother figure to me, but she doesn't feel like a mother. Miss Cool can be a mother, she could be a sister, she could be a friend.
Yes.
And she can, when it's time to put up your socks, most definitely you can.
She's the
you can get that.
disciplinarian.
You
Yes,
can get that.
yes. And
Earlier you were speaking about strong women and stuff, and I think Miss Cool is an outstanding example of a strong woman.
absolutely.
To me, yeah, she's one of the strongest women in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and the surprising thing about it, she has been doing this still pan thing for a while at Labry Stillpan, and she's doing it for nothing basically. Yeah, she's just
For the
doing
love
out
of it.
Yeah,
And when she
passion.
speaks of you guys, it's like you are her babies, her children, you know, her children. And she's finally getting an opportunity to be a real mommy. She's getting an opportunity to be a real mommy.
Yeah.
But she has been a mommy for way before that.
Yeah.
Way before that.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of her because she's my classmate. Well, not classmate, but we went to school together. She's slightly older than I am. But I'm so proud of her because of what she has done over the years and, you know, really grew you guys up, so to speak. And Quill, we are so proud of you and what you have accomplished with these young men and women and continue to accomplish with the younger ones, because you keep adding the babies, the juniors, you know, now you guys are the seniors, and then you have the juniors coming up, and she's fantastic with them. I mean, just look at last panorama. Quill should have been home, you know, resting, and she's up there, you know, wanting to keep calm but wanting to be there, and we're so proud of you for that. So that aside, tell us about how you guys fund yourselves. So for instance, you went across to London. How did you guys fund that? Because I know that wasn't a cheap. You guys were over there for how long?
We were across for a total about 17 days.
17 days, and that's not cheap.
No.
So how did you guys fund that?
No, it's all-
Well, the funding came from sponsorships, some sponsorships, but the majority of it came from our Panorama Prize money. So we had a discussion among ourselves, the 6 of us who were going, and we decided that you know, initially we wanted to bring across a side of 10, but then after going through the costings, we realized that it would have costed us too much. And I mean, it's the first time we were going over there, so we were not sure what to expect. So I think the moderate size of 5, I think, yeah, was better, and yeah, it was a bit easier in our pockets.
So it's all the more important for you guys to continue to win and place at Panorama, because that funds you guys tremendously, right? And who are some of the organizations that have funded you in the past?
Well, we have Will Rock, who has been with us from the beginning,
And kudos to that. That's
yes,
a Labry-based company, Labry family-based, and they've been with you
yeah,
from inception.
from the start, right. We also have the Labry Cooperative Credit Union. We have some individuals as well. What's that?
Dr. M.
name?
Scoremi.
Right, Dr. M. Scoremi, and you know, yeah, some other individuals just, you know, donate something to the band. We also we have from, I can't remember the name right now. but
And that's, you know, sometimes you want to mention all of your benefactors, but sometimes the names just don't come unless you've written it down, and that no, it's true, it comes. So it's no slight to you guys thinking, oh, they didn't mention me. So when they leave here tonight and they come back down to Labry, don't say, oh, well, you didn't mention me. They really and truly are grateful and appreciative for all that you have done and given to them. I'm not a member of your band, but I am certain, knowing the community of Labry and how we operate, that you guys are grateful for that. Now, going back to Mr. Andy Norrell, he's been a mentor and he's been there, and he's conducted some workshops as well,
right,
especially with the younger ones.
Right.
I think we have a clipping of that. Let's take a listen. Is it that one? No.
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 No. No.
No. No.
That's a video.
That's for no. There's another one. Okay.
No,
No.
then play the other
Well,
one.
let's play the one in with, not this one, not this one. Yeah, let's play this one. I know I did. Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. And this one was not the Andy Narell clipping that we wanted to show, but it was actually your first
Win.
performance after you won
Right.
in 2016.
Yeah.
How was that for you? And I mean, that was a fantastic song, by the way. And you guys usually play songs that are very current and that people really enjoy, and that you really enjoy. Seeing you guys performing on that clipping there, were you really enjoying? And I guess the euphoria of having won Panorama 2016. How was that for you guys?
Well, boy, I can tell you, it was like a homecoming because, you know, that was at Festilabobi, and Laborians and even people from all over the south really did come to see us perform that night. I remember there was a huge turnout. There was like the streets were jam packed, and it was our first performance in that little area there, and we really got commendations for that performance after.
Your side there is much smaller than it is now. Yes, and so you guys have grown. And there's a little phrasing that the Castris Pan bands have given to you guys, and I think for 2 years running you've used.
Children again.
Them cheering again.
Tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean?
Well, that line actually stemmed from a joke, you know. We were in Trinidad, right? And we were just in 2017, and over breakfast, Miss Quill and one of our fellow band members had made us breakfast for the morning, and the team, we sat around a table having breakfast, and we were just laughing, you know. And at what this one particular band leader from the north, because we were saying, like, you know, look at us today, like, you know, who would have thought, you know, these little kids who started in 2006, in 2017 now could be playing in a band in Trinidad, you know. All 7 of us, 8 of
Yeah,
us
about that.
got spots in a large band, you know. And you know, who would have thought that them cheering again, boys, them cheering again, who
Trini
always
accent.
giving our problem, them cheering again, boy.
So that's how the name.
That's how the lines, and we just
That's training
run
it.
with that.
And it works. I mean, once you see that on your back of your t-shirts, you're like, yeah, man, them cheering again. And it really resonates with the community. And when you go to Panorama, you actually have a huge contingent
Yeah.
of
Oh, yeah.
Labrie supporters coming
Yeah, man.
across to Panorama to support you.
Yes, yes.
How does that make you feel when you look out there and you're on the stage and you're seeing?
I could tell you, boy, it's relaxing and I say nerve-wracking at the same time.
Yeah.
Knowing that, you know, relaxing in the sense that knowing that we have a community behind us, we have supporters behind us, we have home people with us, and nerve-wracking at the same time. You have
You have to win. You have to perform.
Exactly.
You have to bring home the bacon, so to speak.
exactly. And you know, they're watching us, parents and well wishers are like watching you from down on the ground, watching it, looking at you up on that stage, and knowing that you have to give off your best performance, because you know they really know that we can give off our best. You know, we are capable. So these people just, you know, really looking forward to hearing what them cheering again could bring.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
man,
yes,
you know?
yes. So right now we're looking at this workshop from Andy Narell. Let's just have a little listen to the song, because I really like that song. So I really wanted to, I wanted the viewers at home to hear the juniors.
Picture.
All right, that was good, you guys.
So that was actually your pre-juniors, the baby of the group.
yeah.
They're starting almost as young as you did, Joshua.
Yeah. Well,
And hopefully they will stick to it and get to your age and still be with the band and and be coaching the pre-juniors of their
their
time.
time.
Yes. We open the lines right now, and the number to call is 451-9788, and you can send us your WhatsApp messages at 284-6536. You can also send us your emails at laurajeppe@gmail.com. Again, the number to call is 451-9788, WhatsApp messages on 284-6536, and your emails at laurajeppe@gmail.com. Tell us, what does being a member of the band mean to you? I mean, you guys are all grown up. You're working now. You've left school. What does it mean to be a member of an award-winning orchestra? Before you answer, we have a call. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Yes, my name is Andre Edward, and I'm feeling real proud right now to be looking at Andreas and his achievement over the years. He pretty much did it by himself. I mean, with the support of good people like Quill and Narelle and the whole Labrie population. I really feel that in comparison to myself, he has done a lot. He has achieved a tremendous amount of work.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you, Andres. He's an example. Truly an example. Keep it up, man.
Thank you, Daddy.
Oh, that was your daddy. and those are the kinds of things I love when dads call and they participate in the children's lives, because a lot of the times we have absent fathers and kids don't get that experience of knowing that their fathers are proud of them. We have another call online. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
I am really, really, really proud of these young men and women. The only thing that I didn't see the St. Lucia flag flying up high in England, so that at least we would enjoy it with them. But I'm really, really, really proud of them. Kudos to you all, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
So that's something that you can remedy next year, when you keeping our fingers crossed that you can go across next year as well, and just as you're doing with Trinidad, and fly our flag high, and give a little St. Lucian flavor, a little Labrie flavor to the Mangrove, not just coming to take from them, but also to give off of your, because you guys are very talented. We have another call online. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Good night, Laura.
Good night.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate those two young men. They're extraordinary guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I should keep it up. I like seeing stuff like that.
Great.
And I just wanted to go back to your topic before the guys came in. Right now the St. Lucia is in critical condition, and I think the opposition party should resign from government, because they're causing a lot of propaganda. They are causing all those people to say all those crazy things. They are bringing division in this country, and I don't like that at all. As a young man growing up, I don't like stuff like that. I see these parties will kill this country. They should not allow to have all those demonstrations, because it's been years we've been going through poverty in St. Lucia. It's not from today, and up to today we're still going through poverty. And who's there for the country? Who is helping us go forward? You work every day, and what you make is like peanuts, and those companies come to St. Lucia, hire Lucians, and pay them on the price. All those different crap like that. And we have government that would set things right and make things better. And just have us, the fools, those that are uneducated, talking crap on radio. Okay, that's my point.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, everybody has a right to demonstrate. Everybody has a right to speak out when something affects them. So I don't think that it is right to say, okay, to stop all demonstrations, because everybody has a right to. What may not be affecting you may be affecting somebody else. But at the same time, you have to do it, like I said earlier, based on facts and truth, and not just based on propaganda. We have another call online.
Love is still put in the house.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm a present member of the Labrie Still fan. Growing up with my two brothers, Andreas, close brother,
and Joshua. You know, we've really gone far, and I really appreciate, you know, everything that we've done together on this journey, and as you know, that you keep us, you know, tight and locked.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you as well, one Mangrove, and that, you know, you went out, give your best, and you know, them children again. So yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
much for
Thanks,
calling
man.
and sharing. I think you guys really appreciate that. Good night. And that's amazing, because I don't know that any member of your band has ever gone afoul of the law or people have problems with. One thing, though, I must make mention of, and I really want St. Lucians and Laborians to really appreciate. We have a call. We'll deal with that when we come back. We have a call?
Yeah, good night, Laura.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm cool. What about the Labby guys?
Yeah, man, we're good. We're good, man.
Oh,
Always good.
you know I love Pana. I love Pan.
Who doesn't?
Don't remind me of the days of Carnival, boy. The days of Pan. What you all think? Why there's no Pan in Carnival anymore? Young men.
That is a sensitive issue, but
You think it's
I don't know.
You think it's too expensive
Expensive.
to have Pan in Carnival?
In terms of having the bands.
The bands.
Yeah. Because it can be expensive when you think about it, where you have to pay for the truck,
Yeah.
and then you have, you know, all of these people, you have to compensate them for their time, you know, whereas you can have, it's cheaper to have just a DJ or a hi-fi.
I know for us, our main reason is because of not having a truck and stuff, you know, but I know we can probably still set up somewhere, but we want to be with the crowd.
The
We want to
revelers,
be
yes, going around, yes.
So that's
yes.
one thing we were looking into, but we still came on the road, because, you know, Labry Stillpan is not only about Stillpan, Labry Pan project. We're not only about Stillpan, we also have the Brazilian percussions.
Right, and we want to talk a little bit about
so
that.
we actually on the road with those, but not the actual pans, not just
Because the day Pan come back in Carnival, I'll be back.
You'll be back on the road.
Because that kind of boom, 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 boom.
That's not for you.
That'll give me heart attack. You know? So many boom, 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 boom. No wonder young fellas are so aggressive.
Oh, okay.
But have some fun to make our people get calm down.
Yeah. Well, the library's still been working on that.
Yes,
Okay.
to calm down our people. Our people too aggressive.
Okay.
Pan is a therapy.
Okay. Okay, but thank you so much for calling and for sharing with us, okay? So you were talking about the Brazilian percussion. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so now the workshop with Andy Narell now is every January we have this Brazilian and Stillpan workshop at the Labry Stillpan, where we have Mr. Andy Narell and Jason Kuntz conducting the whole workshop.
We have a call? Hi, Rick.
Yeah, Laura.
Yes.
Every time you come up with these library people, I keep on wondering, who are these guys' parents? Who are these guys? Who is this guy on the right with the glasses? Good-looking guy.
Joshua.
Thanks, man.
You're just showbiz, man. Showbiz talent. I love that.
But you have come across Joshua before, remember?
You what?
You've come across Joshua before.
They made me turn the damn thing right down, so I'm going to put it up again so I can hear it.
Yeah.
So what did you
I was saying you've come across Joshua before. When you were honored at Labry.
He was there.
Yes, Joshua was the one, the young man that you were so smitten with. Yeah.
Did I react the same way?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I was there. I don't know what's Steel Pan though.
Yeah.
But Laura, on a more serious note, people tend to look at kids like that and figure the reason they're not in crime is because they're playing pan. Tomorrow, on Thursday, I'm going to have the Minister of Home Affairs. I really want to delve in that. Those guys are doing what they're doing because they're raised properly, because they have character, because they want to achieve, and they have taken to pan. Pan doesn't make them non-criminals or don't sit in the block. They are what they are, and they're now turning to pan. For now, who knows where they're going to go next? I mean, you see these kids have prepared themselves for the TV, especially my friend in the glasses. He's prepared for the show.
Yes.
You know, don't let. What's the other guy? Don't let me. Don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. This guy really has got something special, and you guys are a team. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I have a tendency to do that. Yeah, Laura, I don't think that they're playing Pan, that they've been saved because they turned to Pan. And that's what a lot of us do here. If the devil fans work for idle hands, the devil fans work for devil hands. That's what we should be saying, not the devil fans work for idle hands. If you have little devils, they will go into devil territory. If you have well-brought-up kids, make them feel confident in themselves, stay on top. Look at the dad, and you see how he's a sign right there.
Yes.
His father calls to congratulate him. You know, I don't even want to go into my story, but when I was doing my bodybuilding, my father had a great natural physique, and I would have given the world for him to stand and flex his bicep for me. I asked him a million times, and yeah, come on. He doesn't know any better. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't that he was nasty or anything. He didn't know any better. But obviously, this guy's father is proud of him. And I know how he feels. His father would actually call him on TV to do that.
Yes.
Now, those other kids who get into trouble, they don't have a father.
That is it.
They don't even have a mother full time. Those are the points that are not being discussed in this country. Like I say, we always discuss the migraine. We never wonder what caused the migraine, and we deal with the symptoms, never the causes. Congratulations, guys. I feel very proud that you came from Library. We got to check something in the water, but Laura, we know what's in the water.
I know. Absolutely.
Today I heard Alva bragging about the water in Library, etc., etc. How good a thing, and we know that's not true. The water in Library is deadly, and the government should do something about it.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I don't want anybody saying the water is wonderful when it is not. But whatever it is in the water, it's been turning out great people from Library for a long.
Absolutely.
Nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Thank you for calling. And that is true. I think that Rick made some valid points. I think you're using Pan as a conduit, a platform to really showcase what is inherently you, what your parents have instilled in you, and the upbringing that you've had. I don't necessarily think maybe that Pan has all of the magical powers that just and you become a good person, because you guys were good kids before Pan, and you continue to be even more fantastic people after Pan or during Pan. I think you're using it as a platform to showcase what you have and to encourage other kids who maybe don't have the same background as you to want to become better. We have another call?
Yes, Laura.
Hi.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm very proud of those Library boys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And remember, we all are librarians. I am from Library too. I'm from the Jean-Pierre family. And Laura, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
And remember, I don't even know what to say. I'm so happy about those boys.
I can well imagine.
Seriously, because they look very sharp and smart. The only thing I was disappointed, looking at the slip on the television, I did not see my flag.
You didn't see your flag. Oh, yes.
I saw the Trinidadian flag.
Yes.
But I did not see
We will rectify that, and I say we are because, I'm an honorary member now. I always want to be associated with the good stuff. But they will rectify that next time around.
If you are going up to England next year, make sure you all carry your flag with you.
Definitely.
Okay?
Point taken, man.
Congratulations, young man.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yes. Now, before we went on, yes, you were saying something.
No, speaking about flags and all of that, actually, in addition to Mangrove and, the Notting Hill Carnival and all of that, we also, another important part of our trip that we probably forgot to mention was a workshop we did with young individuals in London. The Library Silpan actually hosted a workshop at the High Commission of St. Lucia.
Yes, I actually got I had a clip. I forgot to cue it in, but I actually had a clip of you guys playing, and people were just flooding
Right.
from London,
Yeah, it
sending
was-
us all of those clips, and
Yeah,
wow,
it
they were
was-
so impressed with you guys. Guys,
yeah,
congratulations! I think you
Thank
guys
you.
were wonderful ambassadors, not just for Labrie, but for St. Lucia
St.
on a
Lucia.
whole.
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like to be living outside of your country and to be hankering for home and not having that, and to see a familiar face or just hear a familiar word. You know
Right, right.
how you feel homesick almost, and you feel
Yeah.
sick, and you proud and everything, and we got all of those. We have another call. Hello, good night.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Night.
Good evening. Good evening, Laura.
Hi.
Great job
Thank you.
to you. I'm happy about your statement from the beginning of the show, and I just want to say I'm happy that you clarified and that there's not really much to say because you actually expounded on there, and it's really good that when we hear something now we should get the facts. The facts is something that is always really important. And I'm really happy about your statement, Laura. And then kudos to you. That is the way we should really go all the time. Get the facts.
That is so true.
And to Andreas and Joshua, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Those are our boys there, and they're growing into young men. And I've seen them growing from really young. And Andreas is, I've seen him growing from a little boy to this, this young
Fantastic
man.
young man.
Yes,
award-winning arranger.
That's correct. And then I am just so proud of you guys. And I'm talking about,
Thank you.
I mean, I think when I speak, I'm speaking on behalf of the whole Labrie community, my children, and it is just wonderful to see you guys there. And I just want to encourage you. It's a beautiful thing. I hope that many young persons are looking at this program and that they pick up. And I like Rick's comment, especially when he said that it is really the upbringing that encourages them to go out there, and all those persons, including the whole community of Labrie and their family members, that really push them and encourage them to do better.
Yes.
And guys, you guys are wonderful. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And have a
We will
blessed
try.
evening.
Well, we are.
Thank you so much. And we were teasing you, Andres, because you got prepped and really coached and, go out there and give a good account of yourself and, and all of that. So it speaks to the upbringing. It speaks to the family unit. It's not just your mom and your dad,
Yes, yes.
We have a call online? Okay, that's our final call. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm also a member of the Labrie Silpan, and I think that we should not forget to mention Mr. Yves Renard. He has been fundamental in Labrie Silpan. He has offered us his support. He has always been there. He has guided us as well. And I think that we should not forget to mention him. Also, we should also mention about Guadeloupe. And he was instrumental in that trip, as well as Mr. Norel. And we're very grateful to Mr. Yves for everything that he has done. Even in London as well, he did a lot. He sacrificed a lot. He was always there with us, bringing us sandwiches and stuff like that.
So he took the trip with you guys?
Yeah, he was the road manager.
And he was always there, and we're very grateful to him, and we'd like to thank him.
Thank you so much for that contribution. And I intended to ask you guys about the other members or the other persons instrumental outside of Miss Quill. I know Quill is fantastic, and you would not be here without her, but she has had her support. Mr. Yves Renard being one of those. Who are the other persons who have given you guys support in the past?
Like you say, like a song my grandmother always listens to and stuff. For every man there's a woman, but in that case for every woman there's a man. And I think to balance Miss Quill, Mr. Yves again is another outstanding example. I mean, the two of us.
No, we can attest to that.
Yeah, like personally we can we can attest to that. Mr. Yves, I don't know what we would do without Mr. Yves. Yeah,
wonderful, and we're happy for that. And as I was saying before, we got the last call where I was teasing you about your family unit and how they've been supporting you and coaching you and whatnot, and your grandma and your mom and your dad and everybody else supporting you. But Joshua, your mom is another one of these strong women. Your mom is so into your life. don't think there are two moms like your mom, like Pearline, and I have to say, kudos to her, kudos to you, Pearline, for raising such an outstanding young man. I mean, we hear so many times of what the machinations of the young men in our societies in St. Lucia, and when you have two outstanding young men such as you, it really is fantastic. Now, last week I had the Labrie Nightingales on, and we only had the girls on, and so the callers were lamenting that there were no boys, but today we have two young men representing, although there are women, there are young girls in your group, but we have two men, and that balances it off.
Most definitely.
So I have to say, I'm very, very, very proud of you guys. We're running out of time. So, and what are your final words? If you had one thing to say to the young people of Labrie, of St. Lucia, what would it be? Joshua, let's start with you.
Well, I'd just like to say, this opportunity afforded to us, I'm really thankful to especially the Almighty God, because without the breath of life, we wouldn't be here today. To Miss Quill and the entire, I would say, management team, which includes our parents and well-wishers, I would like to say a big thank you for the support over the years. We wouldn't have made it thus far without the support of the community, most especially, you know. And really and truly, I'm so thankful, you know, when I realize how blessed of a band we are.
True.
We really have come a long way, and you know, we have a thing we say, thus far by faith. I like to say that, for thus far by faith, and most definitely thus far by God.
Absolutely wonderful. What about you, Andres? Final words.
You know, if I have to say anything to the public and everybody is, thank you for the support and everything, you know. And well, I guess Joshua say everything already. You know, thank you for the support, and we're looking forward to more support, especially next year around Panorama time.
Yeah, because we're coming for that championship, right?
Yeah, man, definitely.
I tired of the second place thing. I tired of that first runner-up thing.
Yeah,
I got a little taste of the championship, you know, and I want to bring it back home. And nothing against the other.
Riot.
You know what I mean? Like, I seriously, I tired of that.
Right.
So we want to come home with the win again next year. And I want to say thank you to you, the Laborians. Thank you to Laborians living in Labrie, outside of Labrie. Thank you to St. Lucia for your support, because outside of Labrie, these guys have a lot of support outside of that. And I just want to say, you know, to the young people out there, you may not have what they have, but there is hope for you. Just look at them. You know, they are a beacon. They are an example of what can happen, what you can achieve if you put yourself. And these are young men. They're productive outside of PAN. They're productive outside of. Joshua is he's a student. You graduated from school. You finished. Yeah. And I mean, he did well in school. And I think being part of PAN and doing all of his extracurricular, that speaks to discipline. Andres is a young, productive man. He works and I'm certain his bosses may think, okay, this is a disciplined young man. And all of that, being a part of PAN, hones your discipline, because you can't be a champion, you can't be a winner if you're laxing and being mediocre.
Sure.
That doesn't work. So put yourself to it, be strong, be smart, make smart choices, and the rest will follow. This has been another episode of What's Happening Now with Laura, where we make your stories our story. Next week, look out for what's happening in the world of bees. See you next week.